And I've just been making my new outfit, and I'll show you my trousers now. So what do you think? They're really cool, aren't they? See you all later. So I've just got this piece of fabric. It's like a lining fabric, but you could use like a silky or a satiny type, any type of fabric like that. I'm going to see if I can measure it down to a piece about 21.5 by 10. When it's folded, so I only want it to be 10 here. So what I'm going to do is whip that one over, and I'm going to put it on, say 3. I'm going to make it 10 on that side. And then I know that this edge is my straight edge here. Let's move it so you can see better. This edge is definitely going to be my straight edge. And I'm going to take my ruler. Now, I've got a ruler like this, and this works great for me for what I'm doing. But you can just as easily use a ruler just like this and work it out and draw your lines on with the pencil. Okay, so what you need to do is just get your piece of ruler, and you need to measure. Now I want it to be 10 inches. So I'm just going to place it on, and what you need to do is make sure that your ruler is sat nicely so that this line is straight across the top here, and this line is down the side is exactly the same, and you can see your end. If you haven't got a big ruler like that, you can just do exactly the same with this one. Make sure that that ruler at the top is like that, and then make sure your end is nice and flat coming down, okay? And then mark it up now all the way down as you at the 10 inches, and then cut it. But I am going to use this, and I'm going to cut this at 10 inches. Okay, now I've got a rotary cutter. You can just use scissors, that's not a problem. And I'm cutting it the wrong way around as well. So it'd probably be better to do it with it that way around, so you can do it like that if you're left-handed. So there we go, and I'm going to cut that one at 10 inches. And this will just give you a nice straight piece of fabric. And as you can see, how I've mucked around with it there, I've not, by cutting it with my wrong way, I've not quite cut into the line correctly. Oh, that's not too bad actually. Right, okay, so that's my 10 there. And then I'm just going to go here, and I'm going to give myself a neat edge on this side. So line that up again, get your ruler again, and you want to get it so you've got as near to the edge as you can, and get a nice straight line running down this edge like that. That's nice and straight at the top like that, and it's all marrying up. And then just come along and cut that one there off, and just bring it down and cut the rest, so that you're just still marrying up to that line on the edge there. You should have a nice square piece of fabric then, and you need a square for this. Okay, right, so there's your piece of fabric. The next thing you want to do is, so you've got your piece of fabric, so this is a square now, okay? I'm going to fold that in half, and we're going to fold it in half again. Okay, there we are. So you've got this end now where your two ends meet together, so that's your fold there. I'm just going to cut straight through that as well. Oh my God. So get that line at the top right, and then you'll know you're definitely going to get a straight edge on there, because you've got your fold in there, and get it as nice and close to that very top as you possibly can. Okay, because you only want to cut off a tiny bit, and then just cut it off. Again, you can use your scissors and mark this with a pencil, and just cut it out like that. That's how I get a nice straight square. Sorry, it's stuck there. Right, there we go. So that's how you've got it. So you've got two pieces now, like this. Okay, 1 and 2. Now mine's got a shiny side and a dull side. Okay, so I want to put my two shiny sides together. So there we go. All right. And I'm going to fold it in half again. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to come down with our ruler on the side of it, starting at the top, and we're going to come down 3.5 inches and just mark it like that. There, and then we're going to do it on the top. We're going to come in 1 inch and we're going to mark it there. This is just tailor's chalk. And we're just going to come down to that 3.5 inch line and across like that. And what we want to do here, can you see that I've got that little piece now where I've drawn? Hopefully you can see that, because obviously the tailor's chalk, it doesn't show up that well. But what I want to do here is just bring my chalk and make a curve. And this is going to be the gusset of your trousers, okay? So making sure that they're definitely laid nice and flat together, because you're going to cut this out together, put it to the side. And what you want to do is have it, and whenever you're cutting, you want your cutting piece there on that side. Sorry. You want your cutting piece, the piece you're going to cut off, on your right, and you want to have your hand, so your left hand, so that if you're right-handed, you want to do it like that, so that you can move your fabric and see what you are doing. And that makes it much easier to cut. So pull your fabric around and then just cut off that very last piece. And there you go. Okay, so you should have your 2 shiny sides on the inside and these pieces on the out, the dull's pieces on the out. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to machine all the way around here at 1/4 inch. So I've pinned this all the way around, and if you are using a silky satiny type fabric, you do need to put a pin into it because it will move around. You've got to just be very careful not to pull at it too much, okay? So we're just going to do 2 or 3 stitches on, and then do 1, 2, 3 back, and then we're going to just go all the way around. Just take your time, keeping it so that the edge of your fabric is sitting on the edge of that foot. Remember, this is a 1/4 inch foot. If you've got a bigger foot, you might have to sort of adjust it so that you get it so that it's working on that 1/4 inch. So as you come around here, just gently turn that fabric. You see I'm just very gently moving it around, nice and slow, keeping it nice and flat here. Bit now. And just keep very slowly turning it. There you go. So I'm just going to zigzag it all the way around. Just be careful not to pull it. Sorry, I meant to say we need to cut a curve around here. I quite just like to sort of work it out for myself. I want to sort of have it, I like it quite sort of just a, sort of that sort of shape. I didn't want it too much of a real sort of like circle. I wanted it more of a sort of a gentle curve, if you know what I mean. And then just take your scissors, and once you've got your idea of it, make sure you get all 4 layers and just cut it around. I'm cutting it the wrong way as well, so silly me. There we go. So just want a gentle curve like that, and then you can just neaten that up if you want to. So when you're doing this, you need to make sure that you're on the dull side of your fabric, okay? And this is so this will be the inside, which you don't see. So this is where you want to put this, and we're going to do a basting stitch. So I'm just going to pop that there. Come over here, and we've got our straight stitch here, but we want it to be like a tacking stitch, a basting stitch, and we're going to move that one up to the biggest stitch which I've got. Yours might be here, or it might be here, or it might be up the top, okay? But you need to have your biggest stitch, all right? And you want just an ordinary straight stitch, okay? All right, hopefully you'll be able to see this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the very beginning of my curve, which is about there, and I'm going to just stitch all the way around on that 1/4 inch. And you should find that when you get to the stripe bit, you'll know, because this is just becomes striped there. So lift that off, but leave yourself a little bit of thread. Okay, and then just pull that so that that's laying nice and straight. I did go through the end of that thread, there we go. Okay, so you've got that nice and straight. Okay, and the next thing you want to do now is you want to come in again, but this time you want to come in and do it on a 1/2 inch. So basically what you want to do is get your foot there to sit on to that line again, and just come in again and do another row of stitches. Leave yourself a long end. So here are your 2 rows of stitches. Just grab out of the top one here. Okay, and what you want to do is just pull this top one so it starts to gather in. And what you're aiming to do is to just pull that so that that is going to curl in over, and you're just going to very gently come around and pull that in until you've got it laying, so that it's laying nice and round on that 1/4 inch, like that. So just gently pulling that thread until you've got that nice round shape. There you go, and that will give you that nut. You don't want to pull it too tightly, you just want to pull it so that it's sitting on that 1/4 inch line there. Okay, and then take it to your iron and just roll it round like that and put your iron right across the top of it. So there you have the first one, and as you can see, it's sitting beautifully there along that, on that lovely line of stitching we've done. Okay, so then we're going to take the second line of stitching and do exactly the same again. Okay, we're just going to pull it in onto that line, and you should be able to get it to come in a nice round shape. Okay, and we're just going to pull that in until we get that nice rounded shape like that. Okay, pull that on, and it's like sort of keep hold of one piece of cotton whilst you're pulling the other piece as well. That's it, until you get that nice and laying, and it's laying all beautifully in around like that. So just keep pulling at it very gently until you get that nice curve there, and then take it to the iron and just run your iron across the top of that on those stitches. All right, and there you go. Now you've got a lovely flat curve coming in and around. So now you can fold your other pieces over just like you would with your piece of cardboard, with your one, so you're going to fold it in a 1/4 inch, and then you're going to fold it in a 1/2 inch, and that will marry up beautifully with what we've done here on that piece there, like that, as we go around. Okay, so I'll just go and do the rest of my other 3, and then I will come back. So all we're going to do now is a basic rolled hem all the way around. So you're just going to pop it under your foot, and you want to make sure that your needle comes just to about here on the edge of that hem. Okay, and pop it under. Make sure your fabric is underneath that foot, and you're going to do 2 forward, and then we're going to do 2 back. There we go, and then we're going to go all the way around. But make sure that you have changed your stitch back to that your normal stitch length. I'm going to be using a number 4 to do this. Okay, and we're just going to whiz all the way around, keeping that seam lovely and flat all of the way. Here we go. Okay. So as you come down now to go into your curve, make sure you've got it straight along there to start off with, and just give it a few stitches. And as you come into your curve, just gently fold that down and around just very, very slightly. You should be able to get a reasonably flat piece on there. And then that will come in and that will sit in there just beautifully like that. Just let it sit how it wants to sit, like that. And make sure you've got that thread on the edge. It's quite hard to sort of show you and get it laying correctly. So just coming in and taking that curve, and as you come around just keep turning your curve and making sure you've got that row of stitches just showing there. Oh, something there. Making sure it tucks in. Now I found that the easiest way to tuck it in was just to use your quick on pick, because it tends to, with this fabric, it just tends to want to come out. If you were doing it on a cotton fabric, that would work much better, but because you're using this silky fabric, that's causing the problem with it laying correctly. Just make sure you've got those stitches showing along there. Okay, and then just keep going as you're coming in and keep rolling that around, and you should be coming into your stripe piece now. There we go. It's just a little bit fiddly. Bring that piece into your striped piece. Tuck that piece in under, pull that piece out. Make sure all that is staying in under. It's because it's silky, it doesn't want to go under there. That's it, get that laying nice and flat. And then you can just carry on coming up here and getting your piece underneath nice and laying nice and flat, okay? So there you have your nice round curve. You just need to take it now to the iron and just iron that around so that you've got a nice flat curve. Oh, that one is pressing. And take that to the iron and just get a nice flat curve on there, on all four of them. Take out your basting stitches, wherever they may be. Okay, pull those out. You can use your quick on pick to do that if you want to, or your seam ripper, and just come along and take all of those stitches out of the back there, because you don't want those showing through. Okay, and then we'll start on the waistband. So for your waistband, you're going to want to just cut a straight line first, so that you know that you've definitely got a nice straight line, and you want to have two pieces. The first one I want to be 2.5 inches. Like that. Oops, sorry. That is 35 inches long. And then your second piece, you want to cut at 1.5 inches long. And then you want to go to the iron and just fold it in half, making sure that you get the shiny side on the outside on both pieces. So the other thing you want to do is just fold it in half width, lengthways as well, so that you've just got a mark in that centre. And then what you want to do is we're going to put a few tucks in here. So just put that to one side, and we're going to fold this in half, and then we're going to fold it into a quarter. And where it is on the quarter there, I want you to mark that side, and then mark this other side as well, and do the same on the other side. I'm going to do this on all 4 pieces. Okay. So put a mark on that side there, and a mark on, where is it? There. Okay, so you've got those 4 done, and what you want to do is come to those, so that's your quarters, you want to come onto your 2/4 pieces, and you want to fold it 1 inch. So you should have 1/2 inch on the top, on the bottom. Sorry, so this is your line here. You want to take that little line, let's put a pin in it so you can see it a bit better. That's your line there. Oh, so that's your line. Okay, and then you're going to take it to your ruler and you want to fold that piece of the pin so it goes over and it touches, and you've got 1/2 inch of fabric here between that pin and there, and then bring your fabric back over so it's lining up flat with that pin, and put another pin into the center there. Right, and then when you hold that against your ruler, you should have a piece which is 1/2 inch, okay? Hopefully you can see that okay. And do exactly the same with the other piece, but with the other piece you want to bring it the other way. So you've got them, that one's facing that way and that one's facing that way. And put that on exactly the same at 1 inch. Yep. And grab a pin. Sorry, and pop that in there. Now you want to do that on this piece and on this piece here, and then on the 2 other sides as well, here and here, okay? So with the wrong side of your fabric facing upwards, what you want to do is take your shorter piece, shorter width piece, okay? Let me just check, no, that's it there. Sorry. Take your shorter width piece of fabric and you want to place it so that, just let me check it's right, yeah, it's going to go. So you want to place it so that the 2 seams marry up like that, just like that there, and then you're going to pop a pin in there. Okay, and then we're going to come along and just pin this to here. And I think with this piece here, if you cut that slightly smaller, you won't need it so long. You don't need to have this great big long bit. You'll probably only need to cut it about there maybe, so you could cut off an extra 6 inches off that piece, off the back piece, but keep the long piece for the front piece. Do exactly the same on that other side as well. Okay. So we're going to take it to the sewing machine now and just sew a little back stitch there, straight the way across, and a little back stitch there. So all in all, I cut off 4 inches, not 6. Okay, so then once you've got that stitched onto the back, okay, I want you to just open it out like that. And what we're going to do is fold this piece in to the centre, like so, like that, and then fold that piece into the centre like that. It's just a bit tricky for that first time once you do it, and then we're going to fold it in half again, so all you've got is a straight seam like that. Okay, with your end here you're going to fold that down first like that, and then fold into the centre, and you can sort of fold in more of a sort of a point, a little bit of a point, and then fold that into the centre there. And you want that split to stay there, that's it. And then fold it in half. That didn't work very well, did it? Let's try again. So you want to fold this piece in like that. You can get that, give it a finger press so it'll still stay there. And then you're going to fold the top piece into the middle like that. Okay. And then you're going to fold this piece into the middle like that. So you've got your 2 pieces and your end should be nicely tucked down like that. Just takes a few wiggles to get it to go right. And then you're going to fold the whole thing in half. and put a pin in it. So you shouldn't have any raw edges on this piece showing at all. There, right, and then we're just going to carry on going and doing the same thing all the way up. So fold it to the middle, fold it to the middle, and then fold it in half and put another pin in. And just do that all the way up. So you've got like, it's going to be more of like a cord than a, or a tie than a ribbony piece on it. So fold that, do that all the way up. I'll just show you that end again. So just fold that in on itself and finger press it. You can press it with the iron if your iron is still warm. Okay, so finger press that down and then tuck that one to the center, making sure that corner goes under. It's just a bit tricky on that end. Once you get that in, you're laughing. Right, and then do the same again, fold that one into the center. So you should have a piece like that. And then fold the two centers together and pop a pin in it. There you go. And then you should be able to do that all the way up. Okay, and stop when you get to your line here. So you want to stop on that tiny bit there where the skirt, or where the bottom of the trousers is. Okay. So once you've pinned all the way along both sides, you're going to want to come in here now and just turn that piece just under so that you've got that line where you've ironed it is sitting on the top. Like that. Okay, and then you're going to want to fold this in so it's roughly the same size as your tape on the side, and then just pin that all the way along. There we go. Okay, make sure that's right, and you want that to sort of look so that it's roughly the same sort of height on your waistband as you come along. Should be about 1/2 inch. Chuck any loose bits in. You can always cut them off afterwards if they're sticking out, don't worry. And just pin that in there. You can just check with your ruler if you think it's coming down too long. Because that piece there looks as if that is, no, that's about right. Yeah. That's about right. Let's see. That's better. That looks better. Just sort of do it by eye. I like it to look as if it, sometimes even though the measure might say that that's right, it might not be right. Okie dokie. And then you're just going to take this to the machine, and all you're going to do is just to stitch it all the way along with just a straight stitch. Do a few back stitches there and then straight stitch all the way along. Just do 1, 2, 3 and then 1, 2, 3 back stitch. Right, so just run that right through on a straight stitch, keeping that nice and close to that, to those two, where those two edges meet. It's just gaping there, so just as you're going along, just with your finger just to keep it into position, because this is a silky material, it's going to want to slide out. So I'm just going to tuck that in under there. Right, so we're here now at the trouser legs. Make sure none of that trouser leg goes inside that band. I'm just going to go straight across here, like that. finger. Can you see it's come out there a little bit as well? So I'm just going to tuck that in under. That pin out. And hold it with my finger. You should really wait to take your pin out until you're nice and close to the foot, really. Well, these pins are okay because I put them on the right side. Keeping that lined up nicely. Just always be careful because my pin stuck underneath there then, so it's stopped me from moving forward. So always be careful and just try and keep the pins away from that. And then I'm just going to do a few back stitches and a few front stitches again. And that's it. So now we're going to do the front, the waistband, which is going to come all the way around the back and then tie in the bow at the front, okay? So this is going to be the back of the trousers, and then they'll come around, these two pieces will come around and sit like that over the front, okay? So I'm just going to take this is the wider piece, and I'm just going to place that onto the, where the seam is. There, and pop a pin in it, and that's my middle. And then I'm going to pin it all the way along, just like we did on the other one, from here to here, like that, and then the same on the other side, okay? So once you've pinned it all the way along, we're going to take it to the sewing machine, and we're just going to do a few back stitches there, stitch right the way along, and do a few back stitches there, okay? So I've got that all prepared and all sewn across. Now we're going to come here and we're going to fold this the wrong way around, alright? And what you want to do is to have a bit of a point at this end. Put that down like that. So you want to sort of, when you come along to it, you're going to want to stitch along like that, okay? Don't stitch your center seam down until after you've done this piece, okay? So we're going to come and we're going to stitch from here, right from here, right, and then we're going to stitch right to the end. So we're going to go along there, and you're going to go all the way along in a straight stitch, and when you get to this end, we're going to come down in a sort of curve, like that, all right? So we've got it there, sat on that piece there, and we want to start just after that's where the seam is there on that piece of the trouser leg coming down. We're just going to stitch a straight stitch all the way along. Do a few back stitches and then straight the way to the end. When you get down near here, you just want to come across and bring it over to there. Just like that. And do a few back stitches. Okay, and do exactly the same on the other side. Once you've done both sides, just trim that away, but leave about 1/4 to 1/2 inch, okay? Just on that end piece there, just so that you haven't got so much bulk to stick on that end. Just realised I didn't film this, now I can't get it back out again. So what I did was I used one of these. I asked the people up at I think Witherspoons or something like that if I could have one of these burger sticks, because they actually work brilliantly for poking inside things to push it through. And sometimes you don't want to use a pencil or whatever because it leaves a mark. So this works great. So I start it off with that and poke it through on the pointy bit, and then I take the other end then and just push the whole thing through. And then pull it out. Oops, sorry. And then just pull it out like that. And I just found those things work really well if you've got, if you need to just poke things through. And you can stick an end down there and get that nice and flat. Okay. So, right, next thing to do. So here, this is the very last thing now we're on to. We're going to just do this, the waistband. This will go around the back, but it'll come all the way around to the front. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep that on that nice line there. And we're going to come in and we're just going to fold it over like that onto our the bottom of our trouser leg like that, so that's setting nice and flat, and we're going to fold that all the way along and keeping it nice straight line. And then we're going to get some pins and we're just going to place our pin in there to hold that in place. I'm going to get a nice straight line moving all the way around along there, and then we're going to come back and we're going to machine it. Okay. Just do, when you get to the end, just do a few stitches backwards. So just come over just a tiny bit, as you can see. I'm just going to run them back. And that should be enough just to hold it all in place. And that's it, finished. So here we have them all finished, and I'll just show you how to put them on. So this smaller belt goes at the front. And let's have a look. So bring it around and tie it around the back. So Phoebe has a button on her back. So I'm going to put it out. You can either have it above the button or below the button. It doesn't really matter. Like that, and then just tie that in a little bow, and then you can make that look pretty on the back. But most of that is going to be hidden away. And then you need to take the middle piece and bring it up through the centre. And this has got your big piece of strap on it here, and the bow goes down under, and that strap will sit over it like that. And then you can bring that around, and it ties in a lovely bow at the front. Let's get her label around the back out of the way, tuck that under. There we go. So you're going to get it like that, and then you're just going to tie it in a nice bow at the front. These are really pretty little trousers. I like them. There we go. Making sure it's nice. You have a longish bow, I think, a longer bow. So get it tied like that there. And then we'll have a nice long bow coming around like that. Just fiddle with it until you're happy with where it sits. And there you go. So they are great, as you can see. They make lovely trousers for the summer. I will stand her up and let you have a look. So they're looking really pretty. Make really nice, pretty summer trousers. There you go. So I'm really pleased with them. They've turned out really nicely. I hope you enjoyed this video. Goodbye.